Hello and all, welcome to a Galaxy Man Show interview show. So for my very next guest today is this incredible singer and songwriter known by the name of Tence. So I'm about to add Christine into the live now to have a chat with Christine about her incredible music. So yeah, let's add Christine in and have a chat with Christine.
Hi.
Hi Christine, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. I just want to say first up, thank you so much for taking the time to join my show, Christine. It's such a pleasure having you on. To people that don't know who you are, Christine, if you can give like a bit of backstory about who you are and what you do, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
Sure. I'm a singer-songwriter originally from the Philippines. Grew up in Hong Kong, Arizona, and I'm now in just north of Sacramento in Lincoln. And that was a backstory. And yeah, I play, folk, pop music, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's my story.
Awesome.
I guess
So, so we'll dive right into the very first question, Christine. So for my very first question, so you have actually created two incredible songs. So we'll start off with the first one. So you've created a song called Nevermind. What was it like creating this song, and what's the meaning behind Nevermind?
Sure. So that's really interesting song choice because I never know which songs people will relate to. That actually I started pretty late in music. I started when I was 28. So and I guess I didn't go into the backstory earlier. But it's an interesting song because I wrote the hook for the chorus for that way before I even started pursuing or thinking I could finish writing a song. And I was trying to figure out the piano, and it was the first little hook I could play with 2 or 3 chords on there. That's how it started, and then eventually a few years later I revisited it, and it's kind of about, thinking about going back to people in the past that maybe you didn't, you have regrets about, or what have you, and it's kind of a conversation between 2 people. One person who's saying, hey, look, if we don't try, how will we know what's possible, right? If another person who's saying, hey, I want to live my life, and then somebody else who goes in and says, okay, well, we can live that together. I want you to have that too. And also, it's special to have somebody that'll take the fall for you, and yeah. So that's how that
Awesome.
goes.
So we'll dive right into the very next question. So you have also created a song called Not Your Enemy. Such an incredible song, by the way. What was it like creating Not My Enemy, and what's the meaning behind Not My Enemy?
Sure. So not your enemy, but it's okay. So essentially, it's about, as you grow in relationships, there's always different aspects. Different aspects of problems that there's always something you're going to have to overcome. And it's funny because you can be in one place, especially at the beginning, and you think, oh, over time, this will be taken care of. We'll have an easier understanding of this problem. And then over time, you just realize there's different problems that come in when you're in life, as you progress. So, and I think it's easy in relationships if you're not aware of that. You have you start to fight, you do all these things, and it's kind of, I wrote it after, an instance where we were arguing, and my boyfriend is always saying, I'm not your enemy and your teammate. So I kind of played off of those words and just kind of that feeling of what do we do to each other? What is it that we're doing to each other? Why are we hurting each other in these ways? And then also that idea of, okay, well, if this is what I'm doing, like, how do I know what love is? Do I really know what love is? And then eventually in the bridge, it resolves itself and in a way says, she comes together in herself as the protagonist and says, well, I'll learn what love is to be with you, right? So I'm not going to be stuck in this place where if I feel like I don't know what it is, or if I do know what it is and it's incorrect or whatnot, I'm going to learn, and that's the only way anything will work, regardless of what circumstance you're in. So that's kind of the realization I had when writing the song.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. So what made you decide as an artist that you wanted that you wanted to pursue singing in the first place?
Sure. So that was interesting. I didn't grow up with a lot of people who are in music in my life. So my family was very, you had to have a steady job, things like that, which is great. They've always been very supportive of me. But I never had this idea that was something that was possible. And I never had a voice that I liked. So when I was a kid, I actually, tried out for like choir in middle school like 5 times and didn't get into like the last semester or the last year. And then I got into drama in high school, played a few roles in musicals and realized, this is something I really love. But then at the same time, it was still so far-fetched to think I could be performing in front of people as a musician. And then eventually, I got really, I had an uncle. I have an uncle. And in Arizona, I was there for a while. And I had started playing guitar a little bit, but he retired, and I watched him at 65, and he picked up the bass. 3 months later, he had a band. 3 months later, he had the place packed. And he was still learning as he was doing this, and I realized, okay, so this is something you can learn as you go. You don't have to set it aside for later, right? It doesn't have to be perfect before you go up there and start playing in front of people. It's a whole nother animal, right? So, so I saw him do that, and then eventually I had a lot of difficult time finding myself when I was younger, so I had to figure out what it was I could do. Eventually did door-to-door solar, which I did for a while actually, and did pretty good at that, even though I was so terrible at the beginning. And that was the first time in myself I felt like, okay, if I put time and effort into something, I can figure out how to do something well, right? And then I thought, okay, if I did that much and learned that much in a year by putting that kind of time and effort into something I didn't really know much about or didn't give, it wasn't something I was really deeply passionate about. What would it look like to do that, to put that same amount of time and effort into something I truly love doing? And then I thought, okay, I'll try music. And then I impulsively went to a luthier school. So I was still scared of that idea of performing, but I wanted to be close to the industry. And I went to the school, and I was so impressed, and I just signed up right away. So it was cool. It was a guitar building school in Arizona, and I think I also realized that I just loved being around. Even though I was terrible at that side of things, I wanted to be somewhere in music, and I really loved just the atmosphere of people who are connected to music. It's always been something that's gotten me through life, you know, is music that I listen to or related to.
Awesome. So on to our very next question. So who inspired you as a person to get into singing in the first place?
Sure. So I would say my uncle, who I just mentioned, was a big influence. Um, I had a friend, Sunny, actually, who she dragged me to my first open mic, and I didn't feel like I was ready, and I loved it so much. I started going almost every night to different ones. At that time, I was just so like, whenever I do things, it's extreme. So, and then I feel like a lot of the artists that I admire also have inspired me deeply to play music, just seeing their stories and seeing where they came from and feeling like I can relate.
Awesome. So on to our very next question. So what does performing music mean to you, like especially as an artist?
Sure. So it's a good question. It's it's just a whole different animal. It's a whole different way. Somebody told me once people will listen to things in music that they won't listen to by anybody else, right? People will connect with things in music that they might not be open to in outside of that realm of, okay, we're being open and open-minded about perspectives, right? So I think being able to just stand there and share in that really special way of communicating, I think that's just really something special to me. And I love just the energy that everybody, regardless of who you are, you have energy, right? That real people bring to a situation and just working with that.
Awesome. So on to our very next question. So if you could work with any top 3 music artists in the industry, who would they be and why?
Sure. So probably the why to all of them would be because not only do I respect them as an artist, but following their stories, it's just I can really relate. And anyways, so I feel like Alicia Keys would be one because I really love her style. I also watched, she's just also so down to earth. I've watched, there's a master class she has on songwriting, which is really cool. And you can just tell how hardworking and dedicated and disciplined she is. And a lot of these things that really differentiate you in any place in life, I would also choose Amy Clark from St. Vincent. I love her. She's just amazingly creative and thinks of all these new ways to create sound and music, and also so disciplined. If you read her interviews, and I just think she's like a phenomenal guitarist. I don't even know can't comprehend. Anyways, and then also the third would be Jeff Mangum from Neutral Milk Hotel. Yeah, so that was that album was the first album I learned to play on guitar. I had a friend at the time who told me that, who kind of helped me get a hang of the instrument at first, and I was terrible. But that was the first album in An Airplane Over the Sea. The first song I really learned. So and I've seen him live. He played once. He hadn't played in years. Came to Phoenix, and it was just such an amazing show. And it was sold out. We couldn't go, and then he decided to play another show right after for all the people that missed it, which was amazing. It was packed, and it was just him and the guitar and like a French horn. And Or, anyways, it was beautiful.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. So what are the challenges into the whole music industry, and how do you get through those challenges as an artist?
So I think there's challenges on every level, really. Whether it's having the confidence to pursue this, which is a huge challenge that's understated, not just the confidence, but keeping your drive there and alive, because you have to choose who is going to influence you and who you're going to listen to. And if you're going to listen, it's easy to get sidetracked with the criticism and the negativity that you could get from people. So I think, overcoming that is by just kind of keeping everything structured and scheduled and making sure you're prioritizing it and, your music in a real way with time and effort. Also, just being able to balance your life. People don't realize that, when you're, as an artist, you're not just playing music all day in the backyard. There's like 10,000 things you need to think of, which I don't think I need to sit here and name, but you get the idea. So being able to balance that and not being overwhelmed, or understanding how to handle getting overwhelmed when those things do pile up, and understanding all you need to do is take the next step, right? So if you don't know where to go, you just pick a direction, take a step, and then if it's the wrong way, you take another step towards the way you want to go. And you just need to figure out what that next step is. You don't need to figure out the whole, all the scenarios that could happen, essentially.
Awesome. So on to my very, very last question, Christine. So what's next for you, music-wise, that you would like to announce on the show?
Sure. So I'm working on an album. Been working on it for a little bit. It's called I Am Not Dead Inside. I wrote it during my time in San Francisco. That'll be coming out in the fall. And if you want to stay in touch, my Instagram is Christine Tence Music. That's ChristineTence music. So thank you guys so much for watching, and for Jacob, you're so great at this.
Would you like to perform one of your songs, by the way?
Oh, sure, yes. Okay, I do have a song ready. Let me just get this. This is kind of broken. Sorry, let me just make sure. Okay, this is called Ain't Got Nothing But Love. It's about loss, essentially, and I think when you lose things, life becomes really clear, and you also gain a lot of clarity about, what's important and what's not, and what you actually have control of and what you don't. And one of those things that always lasts, the few things that actually do, is your capacity to love. Regardless of your situation, you always have that choice. And I think that's powerful. So this was a song. nothing but love to give. I got nothing but this life to live. I lost it all, but I stand because I got nothing but nothing but come with me, let's forge this journey. Come with me, let's make our mark. 'Cause today is our no place in me. But I saw love win over the ground. I got nothing but love to give. I got nothing but this life to live. I lost it all, but I smile because I got nothing but I am so sing them for time and loving you. I'm still in love. Your heart is pumping, pumping blood into your chest. No, you don't need a thing, but do you feel that? Your heart is pumping, pumping, but it's still full of love.
Yes, Christine. Yes. Well, can I just say thank you so much, Christine, for taking the time to join my show. It's been such a pleasure having you on. Do you have like any last final thoughts that you like to say to people on the show?
Oh my gosh, just thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Jacob, and I really appreciate the support.